Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Investing Bros. I am back. Had a fantastic day yesterday at the aquarium, but today we're back talking more crypto. We have got a lot of amazing discussions lined up for this show. The first and the biggest one, Bitcoin to 200,000. The talks are heating up. More and more predictions are coming out with this level. Is 200,000 a new must on Bitcoin? Is that just a sure thing? Or is it a repeat of the $100,000 call that we had back in 2021? Cardano also is continuing to rip to the upside. It has hit the middle of the targets we have been talking about here on Investing Bros for the last couple of weeks. The question is, do we break through 77 cents and head to $1? Or is Cardano getting close to the end of its rally? Also, another coin making some moves this morning. XRP is back on the move. Still has some resistance above it, but we got some breaking news about XRP and their court details we are going to discuss with a little more detail. With that being said, though, make sure you strap on in for the entire video. It's going to be a great one. If you already subscribed to the channel, hit that like button. Let's get more people in on this stream. We're going to have fantastic crypto conversations today. The rest of you just joining, thank you so much for being here. If you enjoy the video, then you can smash the like button. And please consider hitting subscribe as we get closer to 10,000 subs every single day. I am joined by my co-host, Mr. T-Shroom from down there in Gainesville, Florida. T-Shroom, how are we feeling today?
Well, I'm feeling well rested, and I'm feeling better than I deserve, Tim. I'll be honest with you. Better than I deserve. And I've got an excellent quote here today, Tim. I think you're going to really like this one.
I hope so.
Let no man pull you low enough to hate him. MLK.
Wow.
If that's not a banger, I don't know what is, Tim.
You know, and it's one that I think many people struggle with. And I think every person at one point in their life or another has come to a place where they hated somebody. Even if it was just when you were 3 years old and you hated your mom because she didn't let you have that last pack of crackers.
We've all been there.
Pantry, you know. Yeah, that's a good quote, though. Yeah, and the detail is here with this quote. This is such a beautiful quote because it's so easy when you've been wronged to feel justified at being angry and hating people. But I don't know if you guys have heard this. I've used this quote before, and I don't know if it's a quote as much as it's like an analogy or whatever, but not forgiving someone is like drinking poison and expecting the person that hurts you to die. That, of course, if you drank the poison yourself, you're the one who's going to die. But that's the whole thing is forgiveness and letting go of anger isn't to help them, it's to help you. Because the type of person you become when you're constantly angry and hate people is not something that anyone wants to be around, even your friends and family. So I 137% agree with Martin Luther King. Eric Wallen says, I hate Tim's aunt. Yeah, that one might be okay. I'm just kidding. We need to forgive Elizabeth. Listen, hopefully soon she doesn't have a job anymore because Deaton beats her in the election. I can't vote because I'm not from Massachusetts, but those of you in Massachusetts, please go vote Deaton. You know, that's probably election tampering. We're going to get banned now.
I had a thought on this. It might go a little deep here, but humor me. It's a Saturday show, Saturday edition, right? We're sprawling out, we're contemplating, we're meandering around in our intellectual conquest here. Let no man pull you low enough to hate him. There's an interesting prepositional context to this, right? That you don't hear in a lot of quotes. A lot of quotes are just like, people do harm, don't do harm back, you know? But there's this prepositional context, which is somebody is pulling you down lower. Well, lower to what? I would say, you know, allegorically, lower to hell, where all of the bad things are, all the vices. Hate is 100% a vice, right? And in the same way that you can be pulled down to hell, a hell mindset on earth, you can also pull people out of that, right? So somebody who's stuck in a quagmire of addiction or hate or whatever it is, whatever vice has a grip on them, you can, in the same way that they can pull you down, you can reach down and help pull somebody up. So maybe that's something you need to do this week. It probably isn't crypto related, but maybe it is. Now, I saw somebody in the chat really quickly. Puddles said, "Heyo," and Puddles was one of the only people in the chat the other day when I asked, has anybody ever used Flipkart? So that, and Flipkart, for those of you who don't know, Tim, I don't know if you know this, but
I've never used Flipkart.
It's the it's the Amazon of India. So you can see here, these prices are a little different. For a Motorola smartphone here, it's 15,000. So this is definitely, I think it's rupees. I'm not sure. Ruples. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. But yeah, Puddles got a little shout out there. Our Indian friend. More than likely in India, if you're still using Flipkart. Not sure. But anyway, great to have you on.
That's fun. Do you shop on Flipkart often?
I don't know. I've never have, and I probably won't ever. But
Okay.
yeah, I've never even used Alibaba. Yeah.
Out of curiosity, how did Flipkart come? I mean, this is a tangential conversation, but
it's
that's
an excellent.
interesting.
It's an excellent question, Tim. So Balaji Srinivasan had on the CEO of Flipkart, and I couldn't recommend enough going and listening to that. I mean,
Yeah.
the guy who
All
I
right.
don't remember his name, but the guy who founded Flipkart is wildly successful, obviously, and
What a guy.
told stories of the trials and travails of integrating all of India onto an app to buy things.
Well, cool beans. Let's transition back into the world of crypto, though. Let's check out what CoinMarketCap's telling us this morning. Bitcoin barely up, almost 1%, but still struggling to get and stay above $62,000. We get up there. I checked in with prices throughout the day yesterday, even though I was not working, and I remember I saw 63 there for a second, and then we dropped back down pretty quickly. Bitcoin definitely moving, but we're going to be talking about a breakout should be coming. There's a formation on Bitcoin chart when we get to the TA. We're going to take a look there. You can't say for certain it's going to be a breakout to the upside. It could be the downside, but a breakout should be coming very, very soon. Ethereum also, after hitting our targets up there closer to 3,700, it is cooling off, hovering here at 34. I do want to talk about an article later. I'm going to break this down, but there is an article pointing out that we could, again, not saying we're going to, but could see a decent little long squeeze on both Bitcoin and Ethereum. So we'll have to check out that one later. What else is pumping today? Like we said, XRP up 7%, finally moving. Cardano, though, still outpacing it with that 8% move to the upside. Dogecoin up 9%. It's good to see Chainlink moving again. Chainlink had gotten a little boring. Of course, even though Chainlink's one of my favorite coins, remember that video I made last week, everybody, that 11 altcoins I really was excited about for March. Well, it turns out I was excited about them for the rest of the last 2 days of February because everything seemed to pump. I left Chainlink out of there because Chainlink did not necessarily show that it was ready for a big move. It usually front runs bigger pushes for the rest of the crypto space. So I like seeing Chainlink up 7%. It's not the top gainer, but one thing I will point out about Chainlink, you'll notice the number to the left of it. That's number 11. Let's not get too far-fetched to remember Chainlink was just a month or two ago down at number 15. It is quickly making its moves to the upside. Of course, this is a coin we are predicting to heavily be in the top 10. I'm saying potentially all the way up to number 3 of crypto's total. So we're going to continue to keep an eye on Chainlink's ranking here on CoinMarketCap, but it's still making moves. Good to see it. We're going to start taking a look at the biggest gainers, biggest losers, but already you can see Shiba Inu, 42%. Now, notice here, this is really good last 24 hours because in the 7 days, it's only up 112. So almost a half of it, we'll call it a third of it, has happened here in the last 24 hours. Only 125 in the last month, and actually in the last 90 days, it's only up 59%. So a lot of good stuff happening to SHIB over the last week. Really, today's been the biggest day for it. Let's take a look at the biggest gainers for the rest of the space. Floki, another meme coin, coming in here with a 77% rally. Terra Classic is not a meme coin, but it might as well be. I don't know any serious money that's going to be going into Terra Classic after what they pulled in the last bear market. So let's just go ahead and classify that one kind of as a meme as well. Bitcoin Cash doing well, up 43%. Shiba Inu, like we said, dog with hat. Look at that, number 82. This coin is not even that old. How old is dog with hat?
Very new.
So Solana meme coin here. Let's look at all time. We're talking about, it was around in December. Was it created in December? It looks like December. Yeah. Already number 82. Got to go back to the top movers. That is pretty crazy. I don't know. I am not planning on investing in dog with hat T-shirt. I don't know about you, but you cannot deny these numbers. 90 days. 600%, 400% last 30 days. It's crazy.
Let me expand on it. So my view of meme coins is like, it's fun. It's a casino. Some people have figured out how to make money predictably and consistently in meme coins. Mm-hmm. We haven't. That's not us. That's not the Investing Bros. No. I hold Ordi and I hold Dogecoin. The amount that I hold is very small, and it's just for fun. Right? Actually, the amount that I hold for Dogecoin has been getting a little higher, but that's because there's some potential utility for that token. It's a little different. But it is still definitely a meme coin.
Absolutely. Let's take a look. We talk about the winners. Let's talk about some losers.
Let's do it.
You can't have winning without losing.
It's true.
Unfortunately, some of the top losers are coins that are sitting in our portfolio. Render and Sui taken in 1 and 2. Now, it's only down like less than 7% for Render, less than 5% for Sui. So we're not talking about colossal losses, but it does hurt to see some of your favorite coins. Singularity Net, now it's down today, but yesterday I did see at one point it was up over 29% within its last 24 hours. AJAX, how do people say the ticker?
AGIX.
Singularity Net is long. Is it? They just say AGIX. They don't say AGIX.
That's what I always hear. Yeah.
I'm going to start a new move where we call it AGIX. Guys, AGIX is down, but it is up big. And this is one of the coins that we did say in that AI grouping. I think based off the token metrics. Oh my goodness, I'm off today.
Tokenomics.
The tokenomics, yeah, there was the other one I like better. Render I like better, a lot closer to its max supply. But I'll tell you guys right now, when a coin has a use case, and Singularity Net does, AGIX does, and it has a number next to the max supply, that is music to my ears. Now, it does have a long way to go before it gets fully to that level, but I do believe we got to do some more research for certain. But I think my brief research says that even in this bull market, we're not going to get anywhere close to this 2 billion number. That's going to be played out over a long time period. So I'm not that worried. So the tokenomics are good. The pumps recently are very good, as AI does very well. Look for AGIX to continue to be a top mover over the long haul, but it is a loser today. Anything else? Graph. So we have a couple AI tokens in here. Render, AGIX, Graph, coming in here with a little negative. That's okay, guys. That's okay. AI is still going to be very big in this bull market.
Well,
with that said, okay, yep.
It's interesting you should say that, because yesterday I asked Caleb, is there going to be a crypto category, a crypto narrative that's going to outperform AI? And he said no. He said AI is going to be the narrative. So if you don't have any exposure to an AI coin, it might be worth looking into. AGIX is kind of my play, and basically nothing else. Sadly, I'll be honest with you, that's just not been my focus, the AI coins. But there you go.
Now, A to A says, he says that's a word. I'm not. Ada, you don't have to go further. I don't know if you're telling me I should call it AGIX, which wouldn't make sense because it's an I. AGIX, or if it's AGIX. I don't like AGIX, but I don't know. He's staunchly saying I'm wrong.
Well, you are definitely wrong.
And I like it. I prefer to be that way. A lot of times being wrong can be more fun than being right. Let's go ahead and go into let's just take a look at Bitcoin. I'm not even getting into the full bit of the show where we talk about 200,000. Let's talk about that longer term. Let's talk about the short term, though, projection. Look at what we have going on here, guys.
Nice.
We do have the bulls are going to call it a bull pennant. So guess what that would mean if this does play out?
Oh my gosh.
Bull pennant on Bitcoin would send us to a very, very high levels, a level I have discussed before. Well, not quite. It's higher than the level I've discussed. $77,000 price prediction if this is a bull pennant. Yeah. Now, why did I say I've discussed that price level before? A lot of you guys who have been watching our channel know that I've discussed the fact that currently, my personal belief, and everyone's going to disagree with this because I've never seen two people do Elliott wave theory the same way. However, we have met a person who does Elliott wave at a very high level. He makes a lot of money trading, and he taught us, and some of you in chat were here for this lesson, he taught us a simple rule about Elliott wave theory, and that is, so if you're bullish, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Let's just go here, and then we'll just put this somewhere up here. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves. 1, 3, and 5, the odd numbers are all the bullish ones. 2 and 4 are the bearish ones. The rule is that wave 3 of the bullish waves cannot be the shortest wave. Well, wave 1 was an 107% rally, all right? Wave 3 was a 97% rally. Quick math, guys. Which number is bigger, 107 or 97? T-Shroom, do you know the answer?
97.
No, 107 is bigger. You failed the factoid of the day. All right, but so if 3 currently is smaller than 1, that means that 5 has to be smaller than 3. So what that means here is that if, because we could say this isn't Elliott wave theory, if we break above $75,000, this is no longer an Elliott wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's something completely different. But my expectation is we probably will have some form of rejection before that. The question, though, is it somewhere down here at 64? Is it double top at 69? Or could we make it as high as 75? Well, zooming back in, if this bull pennant plays out, it would cancel all of that out. We'd get to 77. Wave 5 would be bigger than wave 3, and it would no longer be an Elliott wave 5 count wave. Hopefully that makes sense. Overcome 70 times 7, love the name, says think Solana meme with could get to 5 billion market cap. We're going to take a look at that later because I'm not 100% certain what it's currently at. But we'll take, hey, Overcome 70. We're going to take a look at that as soon as I finish my Bitcoin point here. Thank you for the super chat, though. That's an interesting question. I actually do want to know the answer to that. The alternative, though, ladies and gentlemen, of course, we looked at this from a bullish perspective. The alternative is that this breaks to the downside. Remember, we have discussed this, that a lot of times bull pennants and bull flags, as much as we want to call them bullish, they are also the exact same look of what starts off with a Bart Simpson pattern. Don't believe me? Go back over here and take a look at some rallies we had earlier in 2023. Early stages right here in June, many people were calling this a bull flag, myself included. Why? Because it looks like one. The problem is when you break out of that pattern and don't get the bullish breakout, now you're starting to put yourself in a category of saying, all right, it's time to go to the downside. Bart Simpson is playing out. It also happened over here, although there was a small little a little fake out, you could say, right here. But look, we had a bull pen right here, did not get anywhere close, hit our dotted white line, hit resistance, ended up having a decent little pullback. So the point here that we're looking at is this going to break out to the upside or downside? It's hard to know for certain. I'm going to continue to let you guys know, though. We talked about this the other day. Again, we are seeing retail investors come back in bulk. Historically, that's not a bullish sign. I'm not saying it by itself is going to crash Bitcoin. I'm just saying collect data and think about it cognitively. When retail investors come back in bulk, more often than not, crypto prices end up falling. You also see the increased volume, the highest volume we have had on Bitcoin since, I mean, honestly, like, yes, we have some kind of matching it right here, but this is the highest volume we've seen on Bitcoin's price since the bottom of the actual bear market all the way back November of 2022. And in this case, with it being red after bullish candles, I told you guys volume usually marks, high volume marks either one, a breakout, or number two, a reversal. In this case, this looks way more like reversal volume to me. So when I'm taking in a lot of these different factors, the fact that it hit my target, I did talk to you guys about the $63,000, $64,000 zone, the fact that we are seeing retail investors come back, the fact that we are seeing increased volume at that peak, there is very much confluence saying that we could break to the downside from a technical analysis standpoint. The other side of it, though, let's keep the bullish side, the 77,000. We are sitting in different times than we ever have sat in before with ETFs and billions of dollars of institutional money flowing in what it seems like every single day. So keep your eyes on this formation. Watch for breakouts. Keep an eye on what happens closer to 65,000 here as well. And that'll tell you a lot more to expect either a big breakout to the upside or breakout to the downside. What I would caution you guys on, and I love that he messaged me this morning, Bedridden messaged me this morning asking me about the longer term moves, because he's sitting in the same spot. He's like, man, like all my charts are telling me to short, but all the logic of what we see in the news is telling us to continue to long. Don't make a move today. Don't try to enter a long-term long or a long-term short. Look for scalp positions on the hourly chart and down and wait for confirmation of either a bullish move macro or a bearish move macro. You're not going to buy the exact bottom and you're not going to sell the exact top, but you can ride the waves when you wait for confirmation. I urge you guys to be a little more patient about that moving forward. Now, we're going to get into some news here. Let's take a look at that super chat, though, T-Shroom.
Yeah, let's do it.
And whiff, let's go to the top 24, 82. Dog whiff hat, whiff. Let's see, what is it currently operating with? A 1.2 billion. Okay, well, if the 5 billion.
Yes.
I think so. I don't think that's going to be hard for Dog with Hat to 5x from here. Now, it's going to be hard with this chart because it doesn't give us a lot of data to do anything with. Do I have an option to go? No, it's not giving me. So we don't have trading view here. So very hard to do TA on whiff hat, a dog whiff hat. But I'll tell you right now, the momentum is picking up, and the fact that it's above 1.2 billion with a lot of strength. I'm not saying it's going to make a straight up shot overcome 70 times 7, but I do think we could get a 5 billion. Look for a pullback. Again, I even though technically we have one, I don't know if this is a weekly, I think this is daily candles. Even though the last daily candle is slightly red, as a whole, we've been green for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days. not the time to be longing a coin or any asset after 7 green candles. Again, that's a red candle, but it's very slim. Could have been green easily. Not the time to be longing. Look for some red candles and then take your position. I gave some advice to my brother the other day as well, some financial advice, but he's my brother, so he's not going to sue me. This is not financial advice to you guys, though. I'm just going to repeat what I told my brother. If you're not certain when to buy coins, you don't want to miss out too much on an upside, but you don't want to be buying tops of green candles. Make a little rule. This is a nice, simple rule. Anytime an asset that you like dips 10%, just buy some. Don't put your whole bag into it, but every time you see a 10% dip, buy a little bit. Just a nice little. That's not a. Oh gosh, what's it called? What's the buying every Friday? Why am I blanking on it?
DCA.
DCA. That's not a DCA strategy, but it is a strategy to layer into coins. A lot of institutions have rules like that. They buy after X percentage of dips and they sell after X percentage of rallies. If you're ever just not certain, create some simple rules for yourself that have logic to them and play with that way. Now, good question there. Good super chat. Overcome 7x7. Let's get into some news here, T-Shirt. Breaking news. What is happening today? It is a Saturday, so it can't be too much. There's got to be something.
There definitely got to be something, Tim, and there is.
Got to be something.
There is something. So the biggest headline here that I'm seeing that's going to impact your crypto portfolio is going to be this. Got some dates, important dates. Ripple versus SEC lawsuit key dates revised. Here are the new dates. So they have kind of reconfigured when justice will be served for Ripple. Ripple has asked to postpone their opposition brief deadline by 10 days, now aligning with April 22nd, 2024. The court approved the SEC would have until May 6th to file its reply brief. So April 22nd is the new date for the brief deadline. So that is going to be, if you're a big XRP holder, it's going to be a date you're going to want to be awake and paying attention to. There could be a pump, there could be a dump, depending on some of the outcomes in that judicial situation. So that's going to be our breaking news. Other than that, there's not a ton that's going to be rocking your portfolio. We do have some interesting developments that we definitely want to get to. I will absolutely say that. But overall, that's in terms of like potential price movement news. That's about it, Tim.
Okay, I got a voice chat mid-show. I don't know if you saw me like trying to focus. I got a voice chat mid-show from A to Ace.
Nice.
On the correct pronunciation.
Play it.
I don't know if I can because it's not how it works.
Play it into the mic.
I can't because it's playing through. You want me to put? Yeah, that's probably hard.
Yeah, don't do that.
He's. I can say it for you. It's a very solemn. If you guys have heard his voice, you can only imagine. It's Tim. It's Ajax. And that's fine. Listen, that does sound more right than what I said. But we need to make a poll. All right. Should we? All right. Give me a second here, guys. Polls. Should we here on Investing Bros, we call Ajax Tim's way?
It's getting absurd.
Ajax. Or the right
crazy.
way? We're going to get this vote in, and I will abide by the vote.
I won't.
But I'm hoping you guys stay in my corner and we do this Tim's way. Again, in case you're wondering, Tim's way is Ajax and the right way is Ajax. So
we'll see.
Depends on how you follow the rule of G's. Can G's ever make a J sound or are they always G?
GIF or GIF is the infinite question.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got some big movers today. I was in our intro to this show, Floki just like shot up on the screen behind you. I don't know if anybody else saw that, but it's kind of funny. Floki up 69 freaking %. And it's absolutely insane for a Saturday, especially.
Yeah.
So,
listen, I just got some very bad news for my way.
Uh-oh.
When Gia S comes into chat and says, "Sorry, Tim, you need to say it the right way," that's pretty damning. That's pretty rough. It's not going my way. I don't think the votes either. It's getting better, 62 to 36, but 60% saying the right way is the way. All right, well, I guess we don't have any fun anymore in the world of crypto. I guess we have to do things by the book. We'll give you guys the rest of the show to vote on that, but it's not looking like I'm going to get my way. Looking like I'm going to get my way. All right, T-Shum, that was fun. That was good for the little segue. Any more news we have to discuss today?
Yeah, there's some more news. Let's go ahead and get into it here. So this one is going to be meme coins. So meme coin rally may signal impending altcoin season. So this is a sign to watch. So Tim, here on the Investing Bros, we've been saying, the meme coin pump could be an indicator of the end of this rally, and before a correction consolidation lower, that would then obviously be followed by a push higher.
I'm interested to hear what the writer says in the article.
I bet you
for his reasoning, because this is the exact opposite of what we've been saying. But I'll explain why I have my opinion about what meme coins bring after we read this article.
Yep. So yeah, I'll give as much context as time's going to allow here. So Bitcoin is already near its all-time high, set in 2021, hitting 64,000 this week. Alongside strong inflows into spot Bitcoin ETFs, it's gained 48%. Bitcoin has since the start of the year, while the broad market coin index. Okay, and we're going to take a look at this in a second. Actually, Tim and I are gonna rate the portfolio here for CoinDex 20 index, but it was up 33%. So a snapshot of the altcoins was up 33% in the time that Bitcoin was up 48%. Okay, this could soon change though. K33 enters the chat. K33 Research an analysis said in a Friday market quote. So here it is. Judging by history, altcoins will start outperforming about the time we are now, according to K33. The report noted that Bitcoin's market cap has doubled relative to the total value of all cryptocurrencies except Bitcoin and Ethereum. Some of you will know that as total 3. Then this has occurred since November 2022, market bottom. The setup, says the analyst, is similar to that of late 2020 before altcoins started to catch up to Bitcoin's run. So as you can see illustrated on this chart here, you can see that the altcoin, so the total 3 versus Bitcoin is in blue, right? And so that's kind of altcoin price movement. And then Bitcoin is illustrated in this gold line as well. So you can kind of see when Bitcoin started to shoot up, right? There was a decline in altcoin prices in total 3. And that eventually reversed and shot up at a time where Bitcoin was starting to level off and come back down, right? So that's kind of the alpha here. That's kind of what the K33 research analysts are trying to present. Tim, is this gobbledygook, or is there something solid here from K33?
The logic says that in a bull market, which again, that would be the excuse for why we could have meme coins spike and altcoins follow. But that doesn't follow the logic of how people flow their money. Again, in the crypto world, there's like this wave and this chain reaction of smart money really dictates when things really start to pop off. Where's smart money going? It's going into the better coins. It's going into the Bitcoins, the Ethereums. I think this year we're looking at Chainlink being a massive signal of smart money. You see Chainlink pumping, that means smart money is buying. That's kind of just what we've seen. Then you see the money flow into more, low risk, but somewhat more risky coins. We're going to talk about the Solanas, the Cardanos, the Matics, the Optimisms, the Tias, the H-bars, you name it, right? Those types of coins. Now, these coins pump and people take profits and they just have all of this house money, this play money. Man, I'm up 600% in my portfolio now. Let's play around a little bit. Where do you go to play around? You go to the meme coins. You pump them, you take your profits. But at this point, that's meme coins. And I'm not saying everyone who invests in them is stupid, because if you know what you're doing, there's a lot of money to be made in them. But it's the stupid money. Let's just be real. Meme coins are stupid money. Bitcoin, Chainlink, Ethereum, this is the smart money moves, right? Smart money comes in, everything pumps. Dumb money goes into the meme coins. And all of a sudden now, the reason I call it dumb money is because smart people take advantage of dumb people in meme coins by telling everyone to go buy this, and then they use the dumb people for exit liquidity, and then everything comes crashing down. Come look at my chart here real quick. Let's take a look at Pepe. I just want to show you guys some of these dates here. Pay attention to these. So, we had this launch, this massive rally, but then, of course, this big dip back early May of 2023, right? We have another rally right in here, somewhere around July 9th, 10th, big dip. We have another peak. We come up here. We rally into the 8th of December, mid-December, dip. Now we're rallying again. All right, but the main ones to pay attention to, early May, early July, mid-December.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take a look at how the markets reacted during those same time periods. May, what's happening early May? Bitcoin is in a bearish trend. It's pulling back 20%. What happens mid-July? Bitcoin tops out and starts to pull back 20%. What did I say? The other one, December, mid-December. Now, in this case, Bitcoin actually made another push here. But if you took a look at some other coins as well, look at what's happening mid-December. More things are pulling back mid-December. Boom, Cardano, pullback. That it peaked out that time. My point here, historically, and I'm looking at Pepe, but we could use other meme coins, with the exception of during the actual bull market when everything's rallying, when we're not quite in the bull market just yet, and I know people are going to try to argue with me this, but I don't think we can confirm 1,000% that is nothing but parabolic upward highs from here. Meme coins seem to flash the highest right before a big pullback. And I would make the argument, guys, even this one, Bitcoin, and I'm not going to go back and look at it, but you could probably go back with a lot of meme coins, not just Dogecoin, look at Sheeb and others. I'm going to take an educated guess that back early January of 2021 is when we probably saw meme coin pushes. And of course, Bitcoin would go on to pull back 30% before continuing the bull market. I'm not going to spend the time. I didn't do the research on that. I could because I wasn't preparing for that thought right there. But that is historically what we see. Meme coins pumping are usually the back ends of bigger moves for the crypto world.
There you go.
Super chat from Army Piper. Shout out to him. Bitcoin all-time high of cycle will be 350 days after we break 69,000. If we do that soon, cycle top would be February of 2025. Measure time from the break of previous cycle all-time high to the next all-time high. 340. Yeah, let's do this. I'm assuming Piper has done it on his show. Shout out to him. Let's do it though. I'm interested in that math. We're on daily chart. All right, let's take a look here. We broke previous all-time high right here. All right, so where did we end up hitting our all-time high? We're looking for roughly 350 days here, so it's not going to be exact science. That right there is 328. 328 days. Now, you said break all-time high, Piper, correct? Not just retouch it. We got to break through it. We're looking here at about 328 back from late 2020 to late 2021. Let's take a look back here when we broke it. Now, in this case, we actually broke the all-time high, fell back, and then went on. Let's see what that one looks like right here. Right in there. That one says 294. Let me sure I'm reading the super chat right. Bitcoin all-time cycle will be 350 days after we break 69K. If we do that soon, the 343, 350, not terrible. Again, my numbers are a little different. Again, this one's 294, but let's call it 300 to 350. Let's broaden the metrics out just a little bit. 300 to 350 could be the proper way of doing it. Last one, let's take a look here back in 2013. How far were we away from those? And I can't see because of that, but this one, 324. All right. So what I saw, we saw 328, we saw 294, and we saw 324. So somewhere a little over 300. So let's just pretend we hit that sometime here anytime soon within the next 20 or so days. I'm just going to go and give this like somewhere right here. Let's see. Let's go 300, give or take. We'll go the full 320. We'll go 320. That would put us January. Yeah. That'd be nuts. That'd be nuts to see that get that high and peak that soon. But you know what? As we're kind of wrestling through this, T-Shroom, that's not a bad timeline to think about an all-time high and a correction. And the reason why is because right now, and I have not gotten to go back and watch the Caleb Franzen interview. I'm going to watch it this afternoon. I'm interested in what he would have to say about this, but because you just talked to them, you kind of chew on it with me. We're wrestling right now, and Caleb Franzen is really big on this. There have been so many people calling for a recession in our economy because there are signs that things are not going well, right? But Caleb Franzen has been one of the ones, he's like, listen, I'm not going to just listen to doomsdayers. I'm going to continue to follow the metrics. I'm going to continue to follow the data. And data-wise, the economy is doing well. Now, is that real data? Is that fake data? It's a different conversation. The point is that data-wise, the economy is actually doing decently. But there's hesitation, as there should be, that the economy is being propped up in an election year that either A, Joe Biden wins another 4 years, in which case, all right, if things go to crap, if the economy goes to crap, who cares? He's not going to be able to run for a third election anyway. Or option B, Trump wins again, takes back over the economy, and they dump all of the baggage and all of the chaos on him to make him look like a really bad president in the first couple months of his presidency. That's actually kind of realistic that we could see the economy start to struggle and maybe prices like Bitcoin and others start to drop shortly after we get real election results. Of course, presidents are sworn in. If Trump gets sworn in, he gets sworn in January of 2025, not the day he gets elected.
In November, right?
It's an interesting theory of confluence that Piper's bringing up here, that you do have this historical number, that the 300, I think he said up 350, so we'll give the benefit of the doubt 350. That stretches us into March, or into February, maybe early March. But that timeline lining up with the time that a president could be dumped, all the chaos and all the underlying financial problems of the U.S. government kind of get exposed there early after the election. That's an interesting concept. What are your thoughts? And what do you, if you were Caleb Franzen, what would you say to that?
Well, I won't speak for...
personify, just the same way. You're Caleb Franzen, act as Caleb Franzen. What would you say?
I won't... it's tough because I'm trying to even think of, like, I'm trying to parse it all out in my head because it's kind of a newer question to me. Like when... Like the question is, when does a recession kind of come in? That's the overall question, and then does that affect the Bitcoin 4-year cycle?
Wait, what? That's a question. I was listening to you, but I didn't hear the question.
My question for you is, just to clarify, you're kind of asking, when is the recession going to come in, and is that going to affect Bitcoin?
Yeah, I'm asking. It's like a more specific question. Not when will it come in? Could it make sense for it to come in that January, February timeline?
From a political standpoint.
Yeah.
Yes, but so the Fed currently, they put out projections that 2027 was when the recession was going to quote unquote hit.
Let's all pretend that we actually believe what the Fed says, though.
So there is that data does exist, and the market does listen to the Fed. We did briefly touch on this, Tim. So what I think we should do is, why don't you watch that, and then Monday we can talk about it more. What I'll briefly paraphrase Caleb on this is, we kind of is that the bull so far the bulls have been proven right, and the bears again and again have just been proven wrong. And this is a market where people want to deploy and take risk. That there's an appetite for risk. Just because, and this is getting more to the T Shroom take, less Caleb Franzen, you and I, the retail space, especially outside of crypto, they are feeling strapped, but not so strapped that the unemployment rate is ticking up, right? So what ends up happening is that people start to think that, maybe the market's going to start selling off. Well, they've been wrong quarter over quarter over quarter into the present. And that's because I think the fundamental miscalculation is that rich people are still rich and they're only getting richer. And what do you do with a bunch of money? You invest it to make more money. And then they make more money and then they invest that. And so in my mind, like, the market just keeps going up until something breaks. I personally don't think that a regime change in the United States is going to really make too much of a difference. We've seen growth under Biden. We saw a ton of more growth under Trump, but I think that I'm someone who thinks that the presidents don't have a ton of real autonomy or real, like, control over economic outcomes. I think there's just so many other more powerful variables out in the world. Like if Saudi Arabia decides to cut oil, right? That's not, the president can't do much about that. They can try. Right? Or if China decides to increase their minimum wage, that's going to make a bunch of stuff more expensive, So there's all these other variables out there that are very significant. But I do think that the theory that you kind of laid out, it could happen. That politically the deep state could say, all right, Trump's in January. Let's dump the economy with whatever strings we can pull and make him look bad, and let's go from there. That's possible.
Crypto Meme said declining GDP for 3 months and market dropping more than 20% was a good indicator that we had a recession already. We may get some commercial credit scares. Maybe some people have to dump some homes because they can't get insured, but that causes a scare. Yeah, I'll say I'm not going to deny that we haven't had a recession. My point, and I don't think I think it's open for debate. So I'm not going to say like it's a definite thing, but my personal opinion looking at things is the recession we had very temporarily, even though a lot of people in Washington denied that it was one. It was so insignificant. It was very, very small and didn't even begin to take account for the actual problems we have. I mean, just looking at our debt, that continues to hit new all-time highs every single quarter. We're just continuing to stack that up. And at a certain time, of course, this whole conversation started off the super chat from Army Piper, but at some point the Piper's got to get paid. And unfortunately, it's not Piper as in Army Piper.
Yeah.
It's Piper as in the people that we owe money to and the problems that we're causing. I don't know if we need to go a full-on Dave Ramsey scenario where all of America eats nothing but rice and beans and rice until we get out of this debt. But something you do need to deal with the debt. You do need to deal with the ever-increasing inflation of the U.S. dollar. And unfortunately, historically, big recessions, borderline depressions are what it takes to get out of that kind of stuff.
That's right. You can't afford another conflict, America. You're in debt. Okay? The only time you're going into a restaurant is if you're working there. I love it. I love it. All right. Well, the solution to all of this, of course, is Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is scheduled to potentially go up to 200,000, Tim. Let's hear a clip about someone who's talking about that very price prediction. This is the CEO of Bitwise. Let's take a look. Let's take a listen.
If you were to say it's going to go up, where do you think it's going to go?
Absolutely.
And describe exactly why.
Yeah, sure. At the start of this year, in December, we actually published our 2024 predictions. And we said that Bitcoin would trade to new all-time highs above $80,000 a coin. Based on what we're seeing in our ETF and these other ETFs, I think we have to revise that upwards. It could be 100,000, it could be 200,000, it could be higher than that. There's simply this massive supply-demand dynamic going on, net new demand, and a fixed supply, and actually a reduction in new supply coming up in April with the halvening. Sometimes investing is complex, sometimes it's easy. With Bitcoin right now, it's just about supply demand, and there's too much demand.
If you were to say it's good.
Beautiful. I love the chart they had up behind him while he's talking. 11,000% higher in 10 years. People on Wall Street, people with their, sitting at home with their 401ks looking at that, like, is that a typo? How is it 11,000% upside in 10 years? Well, maybe crack open TradingView.
I made this comment last week about a different person speculating on price. I'm going to say it again. Now, he did say we could see 100,000. We could see. He didn't say we're going to see 100,000. We're going to see 200,000. So I'm assuming that's what his lawyers told him is good enough to get him off the hook. But ultimately, can we trust the opinion of this man? And the reason I say that is because he has a company where he's trying to get his wealthy clients to purchase an ETF. What would make them purchase an ETF more if they hear high prices? If he came out and said, guys, I think the top of Bitcoin is going to be 69,000. No one's going to be buying his ETF. We're too close. Like, they're just like, that's not worth my return. But him coming out and giving numbers could encourage them to do so. In which case, is he giving us his actual opinion, or is he trying to make money by getting his clients to buy more Bitcoin ETF? You can't trust him. I will say, though, he's not the only person. He's the one bringing this to light. He's not the only person calling for potential $200,000 Bitcoin. In fact, when I crunch the numbers on what we could see coming in and what we are seeing coming in, 200,000 might be just the beginning of the rally. We could see numbers much higher. However, those of us who have been around the block here in the crypto world for a couple of years know that it's dangerous to start just assuming a certain number is going to be hit. In 2021, almost every single person except for the super bears that are still calling for $3,000 Bitcoin, everyone was saying $100,000 Bitcoin is an automatic. Like, it's going to happen. We're talking, like, the question isn't 100,000. The question is it 150? Is it 200? There were people back in 2021 saying we're going to get to 300,000. Is that the new 200,000 for this cycle, T-Shim? Are we potentially hitting the submit button way too soon on 200K, or is there enough data? Is there enough in your opinion to say no? I feel very confident 200,000 for Bitcoin is realistic. It's going to happen. Sorry, not realistic. Going to happen. Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's gonna happen. No. If somebody was asking me genuine like friend to friend financial advice, like I would not lead them to the conclusion that 200,000 is something you should expect.
Yeah.
I think, but I would say it's absolutely something you could expect. You know, but you don't want to bet the farm on it. You don't want, it's not bedrock, right? It's not truth. Truth is that it's going to be higher by 2025. That's what I do believe.
And this is a fun conversation to have literally right after the conversation we just had. That was not planned, but we can blame Army Piper for that because he gave us a super chat, and I thank him for it because it was a good conversation. But I do think a hefty amount of what you're going to be doing to predict the top of Bitcoin price will have to do with looking at the calendar. Now, we just laid out a nice scenario where a January or February top could make sense. Piper laid it out with the concept of the 300 to 350 days after a new all-time high, which, by the way, hasn't happened yet. So that's still something we have to wait on. And we talked about the potential of after an election, do we potentially just see a dumping, like just an all-out dumpage on whoever the next president is of what's happening in the economy. However, the 4-year cycle would still say that top should be closer to somewhere late summer, early fall of 2025. There should be some form of a pullback. Let's go back here and look at this real quick, T-Shim, so people can get a good understanding of what we're going to be talking about. There historically, during bull markets, is always some form of a big pullback before the actual top. In this case, back in 2021, we're talking about April, May area. We ended up having a 50% dip, mostly based off of the Elon and China news. But that, of course, would not end up being the top of the market. We pulled back, and then we went and set a barely a new all-time high. One I think really should have gone closer to 100,000. That's a different conversation for a different day. But this was not an outlier event. If anyone's wondering, well, is this just a weird bull market? What was weird about this bull market was that there was no blow-off top. That was the first time we didn't have a blow-off top. But I do want to show you guys historically what happens in bull markets. Take a look, take a listen, as T-Shim would say. Look at the cycles that we have going up to the all-time high in December of 2017, but you can see two big pullbacks. Now, this one is going to not be as big as the other one. We had a nice little, what was this? Nice 40% pullback. You'll love to see it. But this one is the one I'm more talking about that happened in June. All right, so it happened a little bit later than the May, but according to these timelines, keep moving backwards because it's not a perfect 4-year cycle. It's more like a 3-year 10, 3-year 11-month cycle, give or take. So we had a big pullback right back here in June of 2017 on schedule after hitting all-time high, nice 40% pullback. We had this one here in April, a nice 50% pullback, a lot to do with manipulation there. But then, of course, look over here. Check it out. On our way up to a new bull market high here in April 2013, big pullback right here. Let's just see what this one was. This one looks actually pretty significant. Nice 70% pullback. My point is that historically, we do actually have these. It's the bull market's not done, but a decent pullback is going to happen. And that, in this case, should happen sometime around February, March, or April area, right? So it's going to confuse a lot of people what Piper's saying here, and the fact that historically we do usually have pullbacks before the real bull market top is in. I'm going to be a person who watches where is the price at and what is the date and timeline. So, for example, I do think if we're sitting at $200,000 in Bitcoin price by January, that's going to be very tempting to say, you know what? I'm going to take some profit on this one. I'm going to at least take a nice little bag off here because there's an outside chance this is early.
Rotate into what? I guess real estate is what you want to buy.
Real estate. We have a big announcement coming up. I don't want to announce it too soon because we're not close to anything with it, but we have a big thing we want to offer our members and offer people in the community. We're going to be announcing that here in the next couple of months. Cannot wait to get into that. But it's a play where I want to move money into that as well. But if we're only sitting at like 100,000, which I think is more realistic, I'm probably going to sit here and wait because I do think the top will be closer to late summer, give or take, late fall or early fall.
Man.
So there's an aspect of timeliness that you want to mix with price action as well.
Yeah.
Do not, if you think 200,000 is coming, but we're sitting at 154 and it's August 30th, don't sit here and say, well, I'm just going to cross my fingers and hope that we still have another $50,000 to pump in the next couple of. That's what the people at 69,000 did waiting for the 100,000. Use your brain and use your timeliness. Don't just set an exact number on Bitcoin or Ethereum or Cardano or Solana or Chainlink. Use your calendar and your timeliness as well as price targets.
Yep.
If you hit your price target early, consider taking some profit. That's just easy money right there.
Yep.
But don't necessarily wait for your prices if they don't fall into the right timeline.
There's so much. There's so many smart brains in the chat right now saying some really intelligent things. Unfortunately, we have a scarcity of time. We're running up against the clock here.
We have. Do you have to go? I mean, this is another Saturday show. I'm okay with staying until closer to 12:30.
I do. I will have to go right at the end. But got some thoughts here. Brandon Clark subscribed and said this, and this is an interesting thought here. Bitcoin to 150K by December 31st, reasonable, is a very good chance. I think, now here's the interesting part. I think 500K Bitcoin by mid-2026. My impulse reading that is no. But what do you think, Tim?
Yeah, I mean, so you can't say impossible because with God, all things are possible.
That's
also
right. That's right, Tim.
This time is different. So
I need an organ.
Yeah. No, the problem I have with it is two different things. One, that is a big jump from past price actions. Do we have the potential momentum to do it? Yes. But when we lay out these scenarios like, guys, this many trillions of dollars will trickle in from institutions. Remember, not all those trillions are going to be for Bitcoin. There's going to be a lot of people that bet against Bitcoin as well. So you have trillions of dollars from institutions invested in Bitcoin one way or the other. Some of them buying in, but then taking profit because they made some good runs. And remember, institutions, they think if you double your money in a year, you did phenomenal. So not all these institutions and not all these institutional buyers are going to be waiting for 500,000 to take profit. Some of them are going to take some profit early. The other thing is, according to 4-year cycle, that should not happen. And in this case, while it's possible, the scenario we laid out before, the piper's going to get paid. The government of the U.S. is going to have to deal with this crap eventually. The chances of us extending past the 4-year cycle, I think, are less likely. Like, I think an early cycle is more predictable than a late cycle. Piper did say 500K by 2026 was OC guys' price prediction, which is fine. Again, I think 500 is high, but I have no problem with by 2026. So he's talking about pretty much the end of 2025. I'm fine with that because, again, the bull market top is going to happen there late in 2025. So that prediction is fine. I think 500 is high. I'm sitting more in the category of realistically 250 is, I think, where I'm kind of looking at. But I would love to be wrong. Would love for OC to be right. What I don't think, though, is that the prices will still be that high middle of 2026. I think whether the correction starts mid-2025 or late 2025, we will be in a little bit of a decline by the time we get to the summer of 2026. And that's my personal opinion based off of how we historically have moved. Again, would love to be wrong, but I don't think I will be.
Now, we had a chat. This is going to transition us into the factoid of the day. We had a chat from Yash. I don't know. It was very early in the stream. Yash said, hello from India. Probably responding to the bit about Flipkart there from Bubbles or Puddles, who had chimed in from a previous stream. The reason I bring this one up is because let us know if you're from a country other than the United States. It's something we've been doing. It's very fun to kind of explore and see who all is watching and listening and becoming a bro. So let us know. Are you watching from a country outside of the United States? And Tim, our factoid of the day, it's brought to you by Decrypted.tax. If you invested or traded crypto in 2023, okay, you're going to need to solve some tax solutions. Go over to the pros at Decrypted.tax to do just that. Tim, who did CPAC determine should be Trump's VP a week ago? Do you know?
I have no idea. I don't pay attention to CPAC. So
okay.
I'm going to hope Vivek Ramaswamy because that's who I'm hoping for. So let's just go with it. Let's go with A.
Going to Vivek. All right. Well, Tim, you are right. So this was one of the first trick questions. It was a tie. So it was a tie, and it was actually one of the first ties, I think. So Governor Kristi Noem, she's the governor of South Dakota, and entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy tied for top choice to be former President Donald J. Trump's running mate in a straw poll on Saturday. This was last week at a prominent gathering of conservative activists. The straw poll at the Conservative Political Action Conference was the first time in years that a question about who Republicans should pick for vice president overshadowed one about the presidential nominee in the survey attended. Obviously, Donald Trump was far and away the first candidate for president. The VP was much more interesting. Now, Vivek Ramaswamy, VP, he has as good of a chance as the next candidate, which is Kristi Noem. That would be very, very bullish for Bitcoin. If we want to see $500,000 Bitcoin in this cycle, something like that, a catalyst like Vivek getting in the White House, would be very, very advantageous.
I heard an interesting thought from somebody the other day that Vivek would be the greatest insurance policy for Donald Trump if he wanted to. The thought there would be, don't try to assassinate Donald Trump as president, because then all of a sudden you have to deal with Vivek. And Vivek is another Trump. He's just younger, and it's weird to say he hurls less insults than Trump, but he might be more fiery. And I think people potentially don't like interviewing him as much, if not more, than they don't like interviewing Trump.
Let me fire from the hip here. Vivek, to me, I was very unsure about him at first, but after I've listened to probably 60 hours of him on podcasts and different things like that. The man, Vivek, I think is what Trump wants to be on policy, but Trump is not. He's not a political mind first. He's a business mind first, and neither is Vivek. But I think Vivek kind of has that. He kind of has that kind of that more nerdy side to him to come in and look at a system and really see how it works and make changes. Whereas Trump had that intention, but he got in there. He couldn't kill Obamacare. He couldn't get it done, and that was a big loss for the Republicans when they had both the House and the Senate. They couldn't get that done. It's too complicated. I think somebody like Vivek would have come in and done away with Obamacare effectively. So that's kind of the difference that I see, is that Vivek would come in and actually get something done that's like really hard, including like what Javier Milei wants to do, which is the afuera, get rid of entire departments of the federal government. That is something that is very Trump-esque, something that Trump would be likely to do, but it didn't happen. It wasn't something that really occurred to Trump, supposedly. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. Vivek in a White House, I think, would be very bullish for Bitcoin, and it's looking, as of this straw poll from last week, is looking like that possibility could be realized.
Again, I think there's a plethora of reasons why it would be the right choice. I like Vivek. He would have gotten my vote if he was the candidate. And I outdid my votes right there, guys. On Saturdays only. All right, let's do this real quick, T-Shroom. What time do you have to be out of here?
Just the next 2-3 minutes.
All right, let's take a quick look at some alts here. We did have Cardano on the title, and while we mentioned it briefly, we have not gone into detail. I will say here, guys, continue to keep an eye on here. Remember, we talked about the 75 to 77 cent. That says 78. It shouldn't. It should be closer to 77, and this red line should be down here as well. We're getting very close to that level. Remember the reasons why we are taking a look at that level. Not only do we have fixed range volume profile kind of telling us that is the end of the gap before the volume gets interesting again. You're also going to see that was the support back here in March 2022. Keep your eyes there. Again, dotted white line, that's a rising level of resistance we have had. That's been support and resistance on Cardano for a long, long time. We rejected on it here just a couple of months ago, and we're back up to it there. We're very close to hitting our targets here on Cardano. But keep an eye there. Now, there's some other people, and by the way, there's some people I very, very much respect that are calling for 85 cents. And it's going to be interesting. I mean, anytime, you get to those newer, higher levels, people can take profit at any point. But I'm going to go out here on a limb, guys, and say if 77 cents, and I'll go a little round up, just give myself a little bit of room for error. Let's call it 80 cents. If 80 cents is conquered, meaning we get above it, I don't think we're stopping at 85 cents. I don't think we're stopping at 90 cents. I think we are making a push to $1. I think there potentially could be a blow off top for a small correction, not coming back down to 24 cents. I will say, guys, my official opinion is that the bottoms for all of crypto are in one way or the other. And I say all, I mean all of the legitimate ones, not the crap products and all those other things. We're talking about blue chips. We're talking about big investments, things that are going to have a very good long-term bull market and potentially long couple of bull markets. I think bottoms are in for crypto. Healthy corrections still in play. At this point, my eyes on Cardano are still 77 cents. Let's see what happens. But if we break to the upside with confidence, I don't think we might see days where we pause. We might see little corrections, little 10% pullbacks. But I think it's a sure thing at that point to be making it to $1 before any type of significant pullback. Could be wrong, but I'm just saying when I'm looking at these charts, there's not a lot of rejection between 77 and all the way up there closer to $1. By the way, look at that. $1 after 77, $1 is where you start to get back into former resistance and support levels of significance. You're also starting to approach back towards the value area high. That's why I think that way. Someone said, give a real quick update on Matic. Matic back up over $1 itself. Speaking of $1, still wrestling with the high we had back here in December. Let's take a look. We have not pulled up Lux Algo at all today. Lux Algo would say potentially a little more room to the upside here on the daily chart. But potentially we're coming closer to the end of that rally. Let's even see what the oscillators are saying. Oscillators started to, here's what I will say. You do love this. When you see the price action go sideways but still slightly up, and yet the oscillators are cooling off. RSI was dipping back down to 58. The Lux Algo oscillator dipped back down lower back towards the mid-level. Money flow is boring and sideways, but if you can see any type of increase now that we have bullish momentum, look for Matic to make another push, potentially closer to the upside, the top side of this level up here, closer to $1.30. Again, that's high. So let's go to a larger time frame and see if we see an order block. We'll turn that off. Yeah, the top of the order. Oh, okay. Top of the order block's coming around 124. So can we mount a little bit of a rally? Can the bulls keep the momentum going? In that case, look for potentially all the way up to 124 before a bigger pullback there. How close are we to hitting the peak of this falling wedge breakout pattern, though? Hit that wrong. Let's take a quick look at that, and we'll call it a day here. I see people asking for sand and others. We're not going to be able to get to that today, but potentially somewhere later in the show. Take a look there, guys. The breakout from the falling wedge is giving us a price prediction closer to that 124, around 122, give or take. So that whole zone, that order block, very, very interesting for a momentum push on Matic. Again, it's showing signs that we're a little overbought at the moment, but if we can mount this rally like the bulls look like they're doing, a potential move to that 122, 124 mark is one to keep an eye on for Matic. Guys, we'll go into a lot more detail next week. We'll have a full-fledged week of shows for you guys. But with that said, we're going to call it a wrap on our Saturday special edition show. If you guys enjoyed this episode, and I know you did, don't lie to us. You loved it because I loved it, and T-Shroom loved it. So you should love it and smash the like button. And also, if you love the Investing Bros, smash that subscribe button as well. We are glowing closer to 10,000 every single day. We need your help, though. You guys have a fantastic weekend. Go hug a loved one, touch some grass, eat a burger. See you guys on Monday.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shroom's news got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.